Level 1, $0. You're the guy who orders the Costco sheet cake for everyone else's promotions. You're 24, and tonight you'll spend your last $40 trying to be liked. And in 30 years, the man about to humiliate you will be in your lobby, begging you for a job. Right now, it's the office Christmas party. A JBL speaker is murdering Mariah Carey, and you're in your one-men's warehouse blazer holding a drink you bought for Lena from accounts. You get 4 words out. Then Marcus shows up, the guy who took your promotion in October. Jaw, half-sip Patagonia, a leased BMW he calls the Bimmer. In 8 seconds, he makes Lena laugh like you never could in 8 months. Then he loops an arm around her and presses his empty Prosecco glass into your hand. Be a champ! Toss this for me, yeah? The room half laughs. You take it. He walks her out through the glass doors. You're holding his empty glass and her full one, the gift still in your coat, a $9 Marshall's candle. In 30 years, the man who just handed you his glass will be the one clearing yours. And that's the least of what changes. What you do in that parking lot tonight is why none of them saw it coming. Level 2, $25,000. 6 months later, Marcus's glass is sitting on a milk crate you use as a desk. You washed it in the office kitchen that night, wrapped it in a bounty paper towel, and carried it out like evidence. You only know the next time someone hands you a glass, it'll be because they need something only you can give them. The candle you bought Lena wrapped, ribboned, never handed over, you chucked in a dumpster before you reached your Corolla with the check engine light that's been on since college. You kept the glass and threw out the gift. Even then, some part of you knew which one was going to matter. You quit in March, no speech. You just stopped badging in. Now your whole company is you, a refurbished ThinkPad, and a year that adds up to 25 grand, scraped from Upwork gigs. Half of it comes from your old firm's biggest competitor, the closest thing to justice you can currently afford. Your first real client is Dale, from accounting. The same Dale who studied his New Balances while you held that glass. Dale hires you, then spends the entire Zoom explaining your own field back to you, slowly, like you wandered in off the street. Then he asks for mates' rates. You give them. You eat the discount because saying no to the one person who answered your email costs more than the discount does. That's the whole game at $25,000. You pay people to keep treating you like a person. You work out of a Panera, living on Marucan and free Costco samples. When somebody posts a photo from the new office party open bar, a venue with a coat check, it lands in your feed at 11 at night, and you study it like Belichick watching film. Same faces, same Marcus, center frame, glass raised. You're not in the photo. You were never going to be in the photo. You post a small win on LinkedIn, excited to share. Then you watch the screen do nothing for 3 days. 3 days. On day 3, the guy who stood 6 feet away at that party and said nothing leaves a comment. Knew you had it in you. Hands up emoji. You screenshot it. Not because it warms you, because it's data. Somewhere in your chest, a quiet machine starts logging the exact gap between becoming useful and becoming remembered, and it runs for 30 years. You do the arithmetic nobody asked for. $25,000 a year, minus the discounts, minus the cores you keep buying other people to stay liked. It comes out to roughly what the firm paid you to carry Marcus's glass. The difference is, your name is on it now. The math doesn't make you angry. That surprises you. It makes you specific. Marcus surfaces once. The group thread you're still on lights up, he made VP. 31 likes. So deserved. You mute the thread. You don't leave it. Muting means you've stopped caring who's in the room while you build the thing that buys it. Because here's what you worked out at 2 a.m., watching a boot camp ad that costs more than the Corolla. Every contractor you'd need costs more than you have. So you become the contractor. You learn to build the product yourself until it runs without you in the room at all. You stop selling your hours. You don't know it yet, but that's the night the building starts. The thing you're teaching yourself to make ends decades from now, with every person from that party working for you. For now, the question still belongs to them. They decide what you're worth. You're about to start deciding what they cost. Level 3, $100,000. The thing you taught yourself to build has users now. Real ones, the kind who pay, then renew, then tell other people. Revenue clears 6 figures, and the first to notice isn't your bank. It's the people who stopped noticing you years ago. You mention it at reunion drinks, a brewery in the old neighborhood. Everybody untapped checking in a hazy IPA. One line. I'm running a software company now. The colleague who left you on read for 14 months re-adds you on LinkedIn before. You finish the sentence, you watch the notification slide down while she's still nodding. Then Dale emails. Mates rates Dale. Always saw something in you. We should reconnect. His last message 14 months ago was one word. Noted. You check because you check everything now. The reconnection lands exactly 3 days after a TechCrunch stringer wrote you up. 3 days. The same interval as the comment. The machine in your chest logs it without asking permission. The pattern doesn't need you to believe in it. It runs whether you're watching or not. You get re-added to group chats you were quietly dropped from. A guy who once corrected your grammar in an all hands out loud in front of 9 people introduces you to his wife at Whole Foods as a visionary. Same face, same haircut. The 6 figures changed the adjective. That's all they changed. Your old boss leaves you a voicemail, the manager who signed off on Marcus's promotion over yours, the one who told you to be patient. Your time will come. He says he's always been your biggest champion. Then he asks if there's an opening on your team for his nephew who crushed it at Arizona State. You save the voicemail, not to replay it. To remember what a champion sounds like the second the wind changes. You hire your first employee. Day 1. You're showing her the new Office One room, an IKEA standing desk, a kombucha tap you panic bought, and you catch yourself reaching for an empty cup on the counter, about to hand it to her. Your hand stops in the air. You walk to your desk, take the glass, Marcus's glass, still in its paper towel, and set it on the shelf where you can see it. Not as a wound, as a rule. You will never be the kind of man who hands another person a glass. That's the loop you closed that year. The thing you couldn't fix at 24 you've made structurally impossible. Nobody in your building will ever hold your glass. The bigger loop opens over bad Cabernet at a founder mixer when an angel investor in a Patagonia vest says something you don't laugh at. Companies like yours either die at exactly this stage or end up worth more than the firms everybody came from. Not much in between. Worth more than the firm. You go home and start thinking in zeros. Not 100,000. Not 1 million. You catch yourself doing math with so many zeros it's embarrassing. And you write it on the back of a Chipotle receipt anyway, and you put the receipt in a drawer. The number on it has 9 zeros. You are going to spend the next 25 years getting there and finding out it changes nothing about the question. The vocabulary gets more expensive. The mechanism does not move. Today it costs 3 days and an emoji. At $100 billion, it'll cost a head of state introducing you to her daughter at a state dinner, same machine, same appraisal, dressed in diplomacy. You don't believe that's where this goes. Nobody at 6 figures does. The receipt in the drawer already knows. Level 4, $500,000. A funding round closes, and on paper your stake is worth $500,000 a sentence that would have put the kid in the parking lot down on the curb next to his Corolla. The local write-up becomes a regional one, and the regional one is how Lena finds you. 5 years of silence, then a text at 11:40 on a Tuesday night under a photo of you on a conference stage in Austin. Is this you? So proud of you. You read it 4 times. Not because it's complicated. Because you spent 8 months rehearsing sentences for this woman in a mirror, and now she's reaching across 5 years like the party never happened. You meet her for coffee at a Blue Bottle where a latte costs what a tank of gas used to. She's exactly what you remembered, warm, quick, easy. In the first 10 minutes she mentions, lightly, that things with Marcus never really went anywhere. Near the end, she reaches across the reclaimed wood table and puts her hand on yours. That reach. You'd have traded a year of your life for that reach at the party. You sit there now, her hand on yours, and you feel exactly one thing. The math. You feel the 5 years. You feel the funding round. You feel the exact distance between the man she didn't see and the man she's touching, and the only thing that closed it is the number, which is the one thing you can't take as a compliment. You don't pull your hand away. You file it. That night, her friend's dinner, one of those places where the menu has no prices and a single main scallop arrives on a slate tile. Lena introduces you. This is the founder I told you about. Not your name. Your title. You sit with it through the whole tasting menu. At 0, you were the help. At 25,000, a discount someone gave themselves. At 100,000, a name people suddenly remembered. At 500,000, a founder with a man attached somewhere behind it. The label keeps getting bigger. The man stays exactly the same size. The proof stacks up all week. People you barely know ask about your cap table before your first name. A guy from 2 jobs ago wants a quick coffee to pick your brain. And the coffee is, transparently, a job interview he's running on you for a job nobody offered him. The grammar corrector emails too a pitch deck, a dream, and a line about how the two of you always had a connection. You don't remember a connection. You remember the all hands, the correction said out loud in front of 9 people. The connection is his. You let him keep it. Then Lena asks the only honest question of the day. Do you ever think about the party? You look at the woman you would have given a year for. You say, not anymore. It's a lie. You both hear it land. The glass on your shelf would call you a liar too. You pay the $11 latte. You stand. She says you should do this again soon. You say something that isn't yes, and you walk into a parking lot that rhymes with a different one. You don't drive home thinking about Lena. You drive home thinking about the firm, the building, what it would take to own the place that hired Marcus, and whether owning it would give back a single thing that was taken in that first parking lot. You already suspect it won't. You're going to buy it anyway, just to be sure. Level 5, $1 million. A partial exit closes and 7 figures land in your Chase account on a Tuesday. And the strangest part isn't the number. It's that the same week, a recruiter from your old firm contacts you not knowing who you are, not knowing the history to explore a senior leadership opportunity. The firm that watched you carry a glass out past the security guard wants you back, at a level it never would have offered you. And it has no idea it's asking. You don't reply. You sit with it the way you sit with everything now. You start going to events in a tax bracket the firm never touched, the kind with a step and repeat and a bartender pouring Don Julio, 1942, like it's well tequila. And here's what changes. Nobody asks what you do. That question was for the 100,000 tier, for people still deciding whether you're worth the floor space. Up here they ask which fund you're with, who introduced you, where you summer. Same filtering. The spreadsheet just upgraded from Excel to a Bloomberg terminal. Then, across a Ritz-Carlton ballroom, you see Marcus. Still a VP at the firm. Still the jaw. Now with a Rolex date just, he keeps adjusting so you'll see it. He's working the room, and you watch him clock you. Watch the recognition cross his face. Watch him recalculate in real time who you've become. He aims himself at you with a drink in his hand and the easy confidence of a man who has never once carried someone else's glass. He sticks out his hand. Long time, we should grab a drink sometime. That's it. The whole thing. He doesn't remember the party. He doesn't remember the glass, the line, the room half-laughing, the candle in your coat. To Marcus, that night was a Tuesday. To you, it was the founding document. You shake his hand. You smile. You say, sure. And you say nothing else. You don't get the speech off your chest, the one you've also rehearsed in a mirror. More recently than you'd admit. Because somewhere on the way up you learned that the not saying is the power. The speech would tell him he mattered. The silence tells him he's a line item. You let him walk away thinking you forgot too. The gravity is everywhere now, and none of it is personal. A woman you slept with exactly once back in the 25,000 years text so proud of you from a number you never gave her. Lena likes every post within 4 minutes of it going up, every time, like a job depends on it. You stop being flattered. Gravity doesn't ask the moon for permission. It just pulls. Then, in a board meeting, an associate puts up a slide. Acquisition targets. Firm small enough to absorb. Your old firm is on it. The place that hired Marcus. The building with the kitchen sink where you washed his glass. It's sitting in a font you chose, under a heading that says Opportunities. And a man whose salary you pay is asking whether you want to pursue it. You keep your face completely flat. You've gotten very good at that. But under the table, the machine in your chest is running the only number that's ever mattered, and it isn't the valuation. It's whether buying the whole building, the desks, the kitchen, the security guard. Marcus's chair gives you back one single thing that was taken in that parking lot. You already know it won't. You're about to spend the next 25 years confirming it anyway. Level 6, $10 million. The acquisition talk became real money, and the real money became something you can't undo. You're worth 8 figures, and your old firm, the one on the slide, sends a partnership deck. Addressed to you, with your logo bigger than theirs. The people who filed you under help, then under title, now want to be filed under your company. You don't reply to that one either. The way people approach you has changed shape. It used to be random. Now it's choreography. At a Soho house you didn't ask to be a member of, one woman holds eye contact across the room a beat too long. 4 minutes later, another appears beside you with a reason to be standing exactly there. 4 minutes after that, a third mentions a mutual connection you've never heard of. You start timing it. 4 minutes. Every time. Clockwork. You honestly cannot tell whether the 4 minutes is trained, biological, or proof you're losing your mind. All three are possible. None is comforting. Then a recruiter sends a stack of resumes for a senior hire, and you're flipping through them on a NetJets you split with 2 other founders. Marcus is in the pile. Marcus is applying to your company. 2 full levels below the title he holds at the firm, because the firm is shrinking and you are not. And a man has to land somewhere when the building he climbs starts going down. You read his resume the way he once explained your own field back to you. Slowly, all the way through. Then you decline him. Not with a speech. Not with revenge. On the merits his numbers genuinely don't work for the role in an email a coordinator sends. Not a fit at this time. The clinical version is colder than the cruel one ever was. He humiliated you in front of a room. You end his shot with a form letter he reads alone, probably at a kitchen island he's refinancing. You don't feel triumphant. You feel like a man closing a window. You try to outrun the appraisal by dating someone with her own real money, the kind with a last name on a hospital wing. For about a month you exhale. Someone who couldn't possibly be running the spreadsheet. Then she introduces you to her friends at an Erohan over $30 smoothies as her portfolio edition. Warm, proud even, portfolio edition. The spreadsheet doesn't care about your balance. It just runs on both sides of the table now. A banker sketches you a path over breakfast. If a couple of things break right, your steak has 2 more zeros in 5 years. He says it like he's mentioning the weather in Aspen. The receipt in your drawer stops feeling embarrassing and starts feeling like a forecast. And Lena escalates. She happens to be in town the week you're keynoting a conference there. She suggests dinner. Just the 2 of you. Somewhere quiet. You say no. Kindly. Clearly. She thinks the money is the door reopening, that the founder on the stage is finally worth crossing a room for. She has it exactly backwards. The money is the thing that sealed the door. The man she could have chosen was the one holding her drink at the party, broke, terrified, his whole heart in a candle from Marshall's. That man is gone. She helped retire him. At a closing dinner that week, a junior in a fresh Patagonia vest reaches to clear your empty glass, just being useful, just being the kind of person you used to be. You wave him off. Gently. You've held that glass. You know exactly what it weighs. Level 7, $100 million? A secondary sale closes and, briefly, you're a Forbes headline. The founder who walked out. A reporter chasing a redemption arc calls your old firm for comment, and the firm gives them Marcus. Marcus is quoted. Generously. He talks about mentoring early talent and spotting people before they spot themselves. He takes credit, in print, for you. You read it 4 times. The same 4 you gave Lena's text. The number is following you again. You don't issue a correction. The not saying is the power. But you screenshot the page and keep it. Before your next relationship begins, your attorney sends an NDA. Standard, she says. You hand it to the woman you're seeing, fully expecting it to blow the whole thing up. She signs it on the kitchen counter without a word, then asks where you want to do dinner. You ask, later, if it bothered her. It's normal at this level. You repeat that word for an hour. Normal. A document that pre-litigates how you'll feel about each other is normal. A signature that turns intimacy into a contract before the first real dinner is normal. You try to remember what the word meant before money redefined it. You give up fast, and the giving up is its own answer. Then the firm invites you back, not to apologize, to headline. They want you to keynote their leadership summit, the same building, the same lobby, the same logo you once held a glass under. They'd love a photo of you beside it for the LinkedIn post. You do the math during the invitation. You could buy the building outright during the coffee break. The chair Marcus sits in. The whole lobby. The thought arrives and it's smaller than you expected. It doesn't fill anything. After a town hall that quarter, a 23-year-old on your own team catches you by the door. New, sharp, a little nervous, with a notion full of frameworks. She asks the most honest question anyone's asked you in years. How do you know who actually respects you here? Like for you? You open your mouth. Nothing comes out that isn't a lie or a warning. You want to hand her the whole machine, the 3-day interval, the 4-minute approach, the portfolio edition, the NDA on the kitchen counter, so she doesn't spend 15 years reverse engineering it alone. Instead you say, you'll know. She believes you. That's the worst part. She nods like you gave her something. You gave her the same fog you got. She's 23, standing exactly where you stood, and you let her. That night, your foundation's finance lead emails a 10-year model. At the bottom is a projected net worth with 3 more zeros than you have today. You stare at it, 9 zeros, then 10, then more, the receipt from the drawer made flesh. And you understand something that should comfort you and doesn't. In 20 years, this number triples. And you'll be lying next to someone in a house with a panic room wondering the exact thing the 23-year-old just asked you. Whether the warmth is for you or for the gravity. Whether anyone in the building is in it for you. The zeros don't change the question. They only change how much it costs to ask it. You hold a glass at a Napa auction that week, a screaming eagle worth more than the entire bar tab from the night Marcus handed you his empty one. The glass has scaled past recognition. The feeling behind it hasn't moved an inch. Level 8, $1 billion. You cross into 10 figures, and the first thing it buys is total information asymmetry. At a private dinner in a townhouse with no sign on the door, you're introduced to a woman who already knows your net worth, your foundation's focus areas, your last 3 relationships, and your mother's maiden name. She learned all of it before the first course. You know one thing about her. She chose the seat next to you, and choosing it took research. The firm, meanwhile, is dying. Slowly, then quickly, the way they always go. And Marcus requests a meeting. He's not a VP anymore. He's consulting, the word men use when the building finally sinks. The Rolex is gone, there's a pale band on his wrist where it used to be. He wants to discuss a strategic partnership. The phrase you use when you need someone and can't say so. He needs you to save what's left. You take the meeting. Maybe the same reason you once washed a glass in an office kitchen. He's good. Still the jaw, a little softer now, he pitches. And somewhere in the middle of it, your empty glass is sitting on the table between you, and Marcus, by pure old reflex, reaches over to clear it. Be a champ. Let me get that. He doesn't hear it. He has no idea what he just said, or that he said it once before to you in a different building, in a different life. To him, it's a reflex. You hear all 20 years of it. The glass is in his hand now, going the other direction. You pass on the deal. Not for revenge, there's genuinely nothing left to buy. Diligence, not vengeance. The boomerang came back on its own. You never had to throw it. Then Lena makes her last move. She's divorced now. She reaches out, and for the first time in 20 years, she's completely honest. She says she should have seen you at the party, that she's thought about you for years, that she got it wrong. And the terrible thing is she's not lying. You can hear that she means it. That's what makes it unsurvivable. You tell her the truth because you owe the 24-year-old at least that. The version of her that would have chosen you that night broke. Terrified, holding her drink, that woman doesn't exist. And the woman choosing you now is choosing the number. Both are true at once. They don't cancel. You wish her well. You mean it completely. You do not go to dinner. That night you do something stupid. You count. You count the people in your life who entered it without a transaction attached. 2 assistants, a head of communications, a philanthropy advisor, a chief of staff who orders your Hermes ties so you never have to. All warm, all genuine, all on payroll. You go back 3 years looking for one person who showed up for no reason at all. You find no one. You are surrounded by people. You are completely alone. Both sentences are true, and they do not cancel. That's what $1 billion buys. 2 facts that should destroy each other, calmly sharing a table. Then a scholarship director named Adami sends you a handwritten thank you letter. It mentions a student, Amara, the first in her family who will graduate. It does not mention your net worth or the building going up with your name on it. It's the most honest thing anyone's written you in a decade. You frame it. It hangs next to a Basquiat. It's worth more than the Basquiat. And it makes you want to go back to where the glass started. Level 9, $100 billion. The receipt in the drawer came true. Every zero. The firm, the building, the lobby, the logo, the kitchen sink got absorbed years ago into a holding company you partly own, which means that technically, at some distance, every person from that Christmas party now works for you. Marcus included. You feel nothing you can spend. People are briefed before they meet you now what to raise, which side to stand on, how long to stay. You watch a woman do it across a room at Davos and read the script behind her eyes, like subtitles. A head of state introduces you to her daughter at a state dinner. The daughter knows your foundation's 5-year plan and your position on 3 trade frameworks. She does not know your middle name. At an event, a surgeon you respect, a serious person, someone who saves actual lives, steps half a step to her left before a camera flash. She does it without thinking. She's been trained by your gravity the way the tide is trained by the moon. You never asked for the gravity. It doesn't ask permission. It just pulls everything slightly toward you and slightly out of true. At your foundation's gala, 400 people, a woman is seated beside you with an assigned conversation. Warm, smart, perfectly calibrated. And you realize there's one question you want to ask her, the same one the 23-year-old asked you, turned around. What would you say to me if no one was watching? You don't ask. You already know you wouldn't believe the answer. You leave early. On the way out, your chief of staff asks if everything's all right. It's the kindest thing anyone says to you all night, and it's in her job description. You tell her it's fine. Two professionals trading the truth's polite cousin. You drive yourself no detail, no Suburban, no calendar event to a bar near your first office. It's been remodeled. Edison bulbs, a waxed mustache bartender, a $19 smoked old-fashioned, a natural wine list where the pool table used to be. Back when a drink here cost less than your dignity did. You sit on a stool. You order the old-fashioned. The bartender doesn't recognize you. Nobody does. For 20 minutes, you are no one's headline. Not a resource. Not a calendar event. Not a gravitational field. Just a man on a stool with a drink he ordered himself. A woman sits down on the next stool. She doesn't know your name. She doesn't know your number. She glances over and asks if the seat's taken. It's all yours, she smiles. It costs nothing. It's the most expensive thing you've felt in years. The empty glass is still on a shelf in your office, wrapped in a paper towel, 30 years old. But the glass in front of you right now was handed over by no one. Owed to no one. Calculated by no one. You spent $100 billion climbing out of that parking lot, past every person who only saw you once you were worth seeing. And at the top, you finally understand what Marcus actually took that night. It wasn't the promotion. It wasn't Lena. It wasn't the glass. It was the last time someone smiled at you without first knowing what you were worth. You hold the drink. Same weight. Same shape as the one you carried out of an office kitchen a lifetime ago. The glass has finally come home. And so for 20 quiet minutes, have you? If this one stayed with you, leave a thought below. Subscribe for more.